Zoom shows, Zoom shows, Zoom shows. People want to do stand up on the computer now. It's very hard. When it first started, imagine this. People didn't know what to hold, so they were holding a spoon doing their jokes, which made no sense, but they just wanted to feel like it was stand up. The reason you hold a mic is so the audience can hear you in the back. You don't need, it's not a prop. So that's one. When I first started doing Zoom shows, I would stand up and have like a fake brick wall behind me, but you've seen that technology. It's very crappy. Let me see if I can choose the virtual background. Look how bad this looks.
It just makes editing a whole lot more of a big.
All right. You're moving too fast and it's not. Yeah, so I do that, you know.
Gonna have fun
hey, the other day, you know.
Check it out.
Yeah. So 235 of A to the show, 235 days traveling around the world. We meet our first.
Almost at 250.
Yes. Whoa, that's coming.
Speaking of 250, Ali, show him the shirt, bro. What are you doing? Why are you still like sitting? 250, bro.
Check it out.
We got merch. You guys can we'll shout it out.
Finally, you can check it out.
Here's what's a bit more important than our merch.
Yes.
Just a bit. You got Kvon on the show. Kvon, welcome on the show. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
How are you doing, everybody? For those of you who don't know, my name is Kvon. I am by far the world's most famous half-Persian comedian. Luckily, not a lot of competition there. So, boom. Who's number one? Kvon.
Kvon number one
is number one. Yes, pretty much.
I love it. So that I was gonna say, go ahead and let the world know who you are and what you do, but you already did that, which I'm grateful for. Comedy.
Yes.
It's hard. Is it not? It's like
it's very hard. It's very hard. But you know what? You look into your own life. It's like panning for gold. There's a lot of water. There's a lot of sand. But every once in a while, something funny from your life, and you find it, and you tell the world, and they go, "That's my dad too." And then everyone's laughing all around the world. And you try to make your jokes relatable to people. And that's why you go on stage. And if you're not doing well, the whole room knows it. You know it, and you want to kill yourself.
Basically. The show does not
endorse
suicide, but
anything, check out a hotline.
But here's since we're going on this whole suicidal mental track, did looking into your life, finding the funny parts of your life, make you realize anything that's actually kind of, sad or anything like this? Or how did it help improve you as a person?
Well, most people, they work their day-to-day hourly job, and then they have all these problems in their life, and they need to see a counselor and just talk. Comedians, we see a counselor every night. We go on in front of 100 drunk counselors, the audience, and we tell them our stories, and they'll laugh with you, they'll cry, they'll yell at you, but at the end, you don't need any other help. This is the self-reflection, like you were saying. And so going through your whole life is very therapeutic. You start writing a book about it. You start seeing why you think things like this, which family member messed you up the most, and you get to talk about it every night, and it ends in a laugh, hopefully. So it's a really good experience.
Right, hopefully.
You always say, like I've noticed, you said hopefully, and so have you ever like bombed the show?
Well, when you first start, there's no way to be a great comedian for 99% of us, because first of all, just walking in front of a crowd with the lights in your face and grabbing a mic, you could be the coolest guy in high school, but you've never done that before. And now you're freezing like a deer in the headlights.
Right.
And for the next 5-10 years, you're trying to just become yourself again in a very unnatural environment, where a guy like Dave Chappelle now can smoke on stage. He could probably pee in the corner of the stage and come back and talk to you like he was just in the alley with his buddies. And that's what you want to get to, that level of comfort. Although peeing on the stage, probably not a good idea.
Not a great idea.
But then again, that's Dave Chappelle. But and speaking of Dave Chappelle, did you watch his last, it wasn't really, I don't want to call it a stand-up. I'd rather call it a rant. Because it was
I've seen almost everything he does, and that was cool because it was outdoor. It was during the pandemic. It had a nice image to it. The material was probably his worst I've seen. Yeah, it was a COVID tape.
He got COVID like right after.
Yeah.
And then he had to cancel his stand-up with Joe Rogan, who was also going to do a stand-up, and he had to cancel that because he got COVID. It sucks to see how Dave Chappelle in his last one, like how it just hit the fan with him, because he is my hero when it comes to shows or
The great thing about Dave is, as a comedian, I've seen him late night at the comedy club where he waits for everyone to leave, and then there's just 8 audience members, and then he wants to go up because he doesn't want a big fanfare. It's 2 a.m, and he'll go for an hour and a half, 2 hours, just sitting there smoking a cigarette, and it's not funny 90% of the time, but he has these sparks of brilliance. You go, oh, that's going to go in the next show. Oh, he's going to use that. And he's just looking at the newspaper and the phone book and his phone. And, oh, my homie just texted me. Hold on. And so it's just basically hanging out at night with Dave Chappelle, who's holding a microphone. Many times. He's always in the comedy clubs. Of all the big comedians, Eddie Murphy never went back to the stage. Chris Rock does that a little bit. But Dave Chappelle is just one of the dudes. Like, he's always around. If you've been in LA and you've gone to a late night comedy club, he could pop in any day, any time, and it's free. You don't get charged to see him. And people start walking out like at 4 a.m. He's like, all right, have a good night. Like, it's just like, because people have other lives to live. But no, it's really cool to watch. I would like to do that, but the comedy club would turn off the lights, take the microphone, and kick me out before I could talk to people for 4 a.m.
But did you ever have a conversation with Dave Chappelle himself?
I did have a conversation once. I'm at the Comedy Store. Oh yeah, I was at the Comedy Store performing, and I came out off the stage into the green room, and everyone was a little oddly quiet. I go, hey, that was a cool crowd, and they're like, I was like, okay, and I just went into the bathroom back there, and Dave Chappelle's in there smoking a cigarette with his buddy.
Constantly, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody was like, don't go in there, but I was like, well, I just got off stage, whatever. And I go, oh, sorry, I just was gonna. He's like, it's all right, baby, just do what you got to do. and I was like, okay. There's 2 urinals. He's standing by the sink, and I'm like, I'm going to now turn my back and pee with my comedy idol in the room. This is going to be. So the joke I tell on stage is I couldn't get it to work.
You couldn't just pee because he's there.
Yeah. And then it looked like, and he's a paranoid guy, so it looked like I was paparazzi or maybe like TMZ recording him because there was no sound of pee. And I wish I had like my water bottle so I could have just squirted.
Try to make it look like your food, but it's true. How did he help you? Away from, we're talking to when you talked to him and before you got the chance to talk to him. Like, how did?
Well, I've talked to Chris Rock backstage. I've talked to very quickly with Dave. Dave is the kind of guy where when he's on stage at 2 a.m, it feels like you're talking to him anyway. You can shout things back to him and he'll just be like, what did you say? Hold on, answer that. So, but Dave never gave me any advice. I never asked him for any. Some of these guys, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, they've got people bugging them all the time. So as a comedian, you just want to be in the room. Just don't say too much. Mm-hmm. The worst thing is, hey, you want to hear my new joke? They're going to be like, whoa. I approach them like a cat as opposed to like a dog. A dog you grab, you rub his ears real hard and you shove him. A cat, you go, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Like, don't scare him away.
Yeah, don't scratch him. Pretty much.
Don't scratch.
How do you get from that level to the legendary status in comedy? Like, you do a lot of comedy shows, you have specials, you've been on TV. What
used to be one way. Right. One way only. You get on the Johnny Carson show and he claps and he asks you to come sit down. Okay. That was like, oh, you've been knighted. The new king of comedy. Right. But then it became, okay, you get on Comedy Central with a half-hour special. Now, if I gave you the list of the last 10 comedians who had a half-hour special on Comedy Central, you wouldn't know any of them. And if I told you the last 5 comedians that was on the Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon show, you might know one.
Right.
People aren't watching. Now, if you have a huge podcast, you could become a legend. Joe Rogan was already on his way to becoming a legend, but his podcast, boom. Now you could have a commercial that everybody loves. Flo, Progressive Car Insurance. She was a comedic actor, and now she's more famous that she was on a car commercial for the last decade that runs during the Super Bowl and throughout So the world has changed so much. Now it's just be a legend in your own little bubble, and hopefully more people find you. So
I see how it is. And do you think it's a good thing, or do you think maybe it's not so good?
I think, on one side, it's a very good thing because if Netflix doesn't like you and Comedy Central doesn't like you, the world was never going to know you. But now there's so many talented people going, all right, well, I'll go around you. Mm-hmm. So forget you. I don't need you. But on the other side, there's not any one comedian we all watch every. Like my family used to sit down and watch the Seinfeld show. We all know Jerry Seinfeld,
Right.
Johnny Carson. Now I could tell my dad, "Hey, Dad, have you ever heard of I say, Dad, have you ever heard of Chris Rock?" He'll say yes. But if I say, "Oh, Dad, have you ever heard of?" I'll give you an example. Sebastian Maniscalco, hilarious comedian. He'll be like, "Who? He's no Rodney Dangerfield. I'll tell you that." So. You kind of just wish we all had that one comedian we all loved. And like you guys said about the political thing is when comedians start picking sides, then it's even harder to like them because you're offending half the audience. But
pretty much, it's like
so how do you do it?
Is either or, right?
Right.
So how do you stay especially during the severe, political tension in the United States? How do you stay so neutral with your jokes?
I did stay neutral for a decade, and I had a neutral amount of fans who kind of neutrally liked me. I find if you just sit on the fence, like trying to make everyone happy, most people are like, yeah, whatever, there's a guy on the fence. But if you jump to one side, you have a whole group of people like, yeah, let's go attack the people on the other side of the fence. And so every comic in the world was doing their best impression. Okay, believe me. One of the best impressions they could. It was so boring to me. Jimmy Kimmel. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Very great. Then I turn on Saturday Night Live. Alec Baldwin. Hello. Then you see Seth Meyers, who's not even that funny. Hi. I'm doing it too. And I go, no one's making fun of the other side. Now, does that mean there's nothing funny going on over there? Nothing at all? Or have the people been told, here's the list of things that's okay to make fun of, and this is the do not touch list. Well, I went to the do not touch list. I said, I'm going to make fun of this, that, and the other. I'm the only comedian out there doing it. Maybe there's 4 or 5 of us. There's 5,000 over here. And there was like 75 million Americans who are starting to find me and go, that was a good one. That was funny. And so I basically just started doing that the last 2 years. It's easy for me because I can find the funny in that side of the fence easily, and that's what I've been doing.
Very raw and untouched, right? It's like a diamond ore. It's very like you can cut it the way you want it to be cut, and still be comedy gold. So it's interesting.
The people that were okay with making fun of this for the last 5 years are telling me, don't talk about that. You're not allowed. But comedians' job is to go where we're not supposed to, the uncharted territory. So I think they're not real comedians. I think they're failing us. They're not doing their job. And I'm over there. Oh, man, the things I've been making fun of. I was talking about, well, we have a vice president, first ever female vice president. And she's very young compared to our new president in America. We just elected a 80-year-old man. And so I was thinking, like, how long is he going to last? He looks like he's slowing down. And so I did a joke that every time he's talking, you can see she kind of just comes in the corner of the frame. Like, she just kind of... and then when he's in the Oval Office, she's kind of measuring the curtains to see which end she wants to get. So those are the jokes I've been doing, and people are just dying laughing. It's not even that offensive, right? You guys are having a good time. We're laughing. But people will write me going, I'm going to get you banned. You should not talk. It's almost a religion now. Thou shalt not mention that, So.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Are you worried about getting banned at all or being taken down for any?
You know what? Absolutely, because my jokes are PG jokes. I don't say bad words. It's safe for Kuwait. You can watch me in Saudi Arabia. I've performed in Dubai. They made me email the jokes I was going to tell on stage to I believe they were called the it's not the politeness board, but it's something like the social advocacy board or something like that. It was a weird title. Yeah. And if the jokes, so the guy looked at the jokes and go, these are the jokes, and he emailed, but I have an accent for him anyway. These are the jokes you will do. I said, yes. He goes, they don't look very funny, but they are approved. So I thought,
not bad. Which brings me to an important thing about comedy. And this is the beauty of comedy. It's not about the content of the joke as much as it is about the delivery of the joke. Right. So for those of you, or for those people who haven't watched your comedy special, what is your preferred method of delivery? Like, what is it that you like to do when you deliver a joke?
So if a joke has great writing, then almost anyone can read it and get a laugh, like a little laugh. But the great performers can take a joke that's not even that funny normally and get a boom, huge laugh out of it. And I think I'm somewhere in between. I spend a lot of time writing, but I have noticed if you give it a little better delivery, you get a 20% bigger laugh. If you do that all throughout the night, you get a standing ovation by the end of your show.
Which is
so
pretty cool.
My jokes
received some standing ovations.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of a joke that I wrote, okay? All right. I say, women on their dating apps, they want a specific man between the age of 30 and 34. Me, 18 to 99. I got my slider set all the way. And a lot of people have complained. I had a girl say, why did you do 18? I said, it doesn't go any lower. I tried. So...
That's a standing ovation.
Beautiful. I like that. I like that a lot. That was good.
And a key with that joke is first we're starting to talk about dating. So already everyone leans in like, all right, I want to hear this guy tell me about dating. Okay. Then online dating, it's already kind of funny because you're trying to meet the love of your life on your iPhone. Literally, yeah. Then what did I do? I complimented the ladies first. The ladies are specific. Ladies know what they want. They want 30 to 34-year-old man, right? That's good because women know what they're... Men, 18 to 99. So already now everyone's laughing. And then the twist at the end is, now why did I do 18? Because it doesn't go lower. So I have to stay between 18. And everyone's laughing. And
pretty much.
See? The joke hints towards that, but I don't say it, Ali. I don't say the P word.
Okay, fine.
And that's how you get approval to perform in Kuwait.
Basically.
Pretty much.
And that's how you fight the system and go around it by not mentioning what the joke means. You just say the joke. If you get it, you get it. You just pray it flies over these people's heads.
You pray it flies over the decency board's head and lands right into the audience's mind and explodes.
Exactly. Well, you're lucky I'm not a part of those board members because I get every single
I get it.
joke. Like I love dark humor. Dark humor is my favorite kind of humor. Even though
that's what I found.
Go ahead.
No, I found that you don't want to you don't have to say any of the bad words as long as you make the audience think them at the same time.
Exactly. It's like you basically set a little bit of a domino in their heads, and then once you hit the punchline, like it'll all make sense, and and it'll just be like amazing. It's hard to do though. It's easier said than done, right? So how do you work on your setup when you want to give out a joke or say it?
So the first thing I have to think of something that would strike me as interesting to talk about and interesting for the audience to hear. Now, if the audience isn't interested in hearing it, then I have to be more animated to make them more excited. And I'll give you an example. Okay. I do a joke where I talk about racism and how everybody thinks everything is racist. And I was at the gym and there was a Mexican guy who threw his backpack on to go home and I saw oranges fly out. And in California, there's a lot of Mexicans holding oranges on the sides of the freeways from time to time, at least back in the 80s or 90s. So I was laughing that oranges flew out of his backpack. Like, it was just funny that he had that in his backpack. And now that's not very interesting. Most people are like, where is this story going? And so then I have to be more animated. I go, to me, that's as funny as if a Hawaiian guy threw his backpack and 3 pineapples flew out. That would make me laugh. Or if maybe an Italian guy threw his backpack and some spaghetti and a handgun flew out. It would make me... And so now, at first you go, where's he going? But now the whole audience, I go, Asians, what would come out of an Asian backpack? Go ahead, yell it. And the audience is going, sushi, chopsticks. I go, you guys are racist. The answer is homework. And Kuwait, what would come out? A barrel of oil. I mean, everybody has a backpack.
Everyone has a backpack, pretty much.
So the end of the joke, well, by the end of the joke, everybody's now laughing on a topic that started off very weird. What was I even? And now we're all on the same page. And that's a joke I like because I force people to get on my wavelength. As opposed to, you're talking about dating, everybody's already like, all right, we know, let's go. So it's cool.
So when you can,
I see.
It's either you go, what new can you bring to the table, or here's a story we're not going to remember how it started. That's your, all right.
That's it. That's it.
Perfect. That's amazing.
Great knowledge.
When you write your jokes, do they come to you, or do you actually sit and have a writing session with a bunch of people and it's all planned and perfectly cut? Like how does or does it come as a punchline, or maybe you have a setup and you add a punchline? Like what's your whole chemistry behind jokes?
Well, okay. Some jokes come from watching the news and wanting to yell something back at the newscaster.
All
Some
right.
jokes come from sitting in a room and just thinking it out. And some come from real life and you go, oh, I better write that down. You could be about to, go to sleep and go, nope, I better get up and go write that down because that was really funny. And then the next morning, if you don't keep good notes, say, what was I talking about? That made no sense.
Ooh.
But I do have a great joke. Like this came from the news. You know how everyone has to wear a mask now, these disposable masks?
Right.
So my idea was the same people that tried to get rid of straws, plastic straws, now demand we wear 2 or 3 disposable masks every day for the rest of our life.
Right.
So it is not that funny, but that is the seed of a joke. Now, if I can add to that, we're already kind of giggling. Now, what's 3 more things funny before I move on to the next?
Interesting.
So I would say you want to at least have kind of 2. Yeah, you want to have at least like 3 things that are kind of funny per bit. Otherwise, people go, why did he just say that and move on? You took us all the way to masks and people throwing them away. And now he's talking about his mom and getting in trouble going to school. Now he's talking about his grandpa. You want to like keep hitting. Once you've picked up something funny, you want to keep hitting it.
Interesting.
Pretty much. So speaking of like finding something that's funny, relates with the audience and hitting it over and over again, does that ever get tiring for you? Like you do, your YouTube channel, you have certain topics you do a lot of, right? Whether it's like the Persian comedy or like the political comedy, you do a lot of those. Does it get tiring for you, or do you like, is it a way for you?
Well, yeah, you have to perform like 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week for a year. And I did so many Persian jokes that I wanted to talk about something else. But the problem with the Persian crowd, they go, why you don't do more Persian jokes? You go, well, I did the first 10 minutes. Then I talked about, the president and this and that and the other. But we wanted to hear more Persian joke. You're like, all right. So my goal is to try to make Persian crowds laugh at other things and try to make a regular American crowd laugh at Persian things. And that's very hard to do. That's when I'm most excited because like if you can make a cruise ship of Americans from Texas laugh about having a Persian dad, you're a good comedian because they don't have any experience with that. And I found a joke that works with that actually. And it's a true story. My dad's name is Iraj and he has a brother named Turaj. So I thought if the family would have had more boys, maybe it would have been 3 Raj, 4 Raj, 5 Raj, 6 Raj. And I told that joke, and surprisingly, an Indian guy was like, I love that joke very much. It make me die laughing. I go, why? You're not even Persian. He goes, but my name is Raj. So you killed Ali.
That's really good.
You need to stop bringing comedians. I'm gonna die of fucking saliva because these jokes.
Amazing.
But dude, no, honestly, like it's crazy how you beat the whole Middle Eastern system of parenting way before any of these kids on TikTok did, right? Because we all know, like it's true for all of us. It's either doctor, lawyer, engineer, something to do with science, right? It has to be. So what went on in your life that made you want to be a comedian, and how did you convince your dad to let you do that?
That's a good thing about living in America. I gave him no choice, but I got into law school. I was supposed to go, my brother became a doctor. The whole family was going to be perfect. And then I turned the nice sedan into the ditch and started driving through the dirt. They're like, where you are going? But I just wanted to do stand-up comedy. I thought it was weird. I thought it was hard. It was like a Rubik's Cube. People like, why are you spending time doing that? And I was just addicted to trying to solve this thing. And I'll tell you, parents are right. Doctor, lawyer, engineer is a nice, safe, happy path. You will have money. If you get bored, you can go skydiving or bungee jumping or do something else. Comedy every day you go on stage feels like you're bungee jumping. You don't know if you're going to get booed, something thrown at you, someone trying to cancel you because, oh, it was okay you made fun of Persians, but not Kuwaitis. Or it was okay you made fun of Kuwaitis, but never Indians. Whatever, everybody's got that one line that when you cross it, they want to ruin your whole life. It's very, very stressful. It's very hard. But
especially in this day and age, the Twitter day and age.
The cancel culture has become more popular, and 10 people on Twitter can make it seem like there's a million people and ruin a whole gig you have and get you canceled from performing.
All it takes. That's why I try to get canceled as soon as possible.
Right.
I'm not trying to give them an actual reason. I'm trying to look for a little alternative reason where I can prove to people that, look, these guys are retarded for trying to cancel me for a stupid thing, right? Like, it's not how it works. And I'm just trying. It's not working.
I don't know how to beat cancel culture. They've come for me. They've got me canceled. Like, I had a show in Seattle.
Okay.
I was going to go make, I don't know, $10,000. It was coming up in 2 weeks. And 10 people on Twitter emailed the comedy club owner and said, if you bring him, we're going to protest and riot and we're going to do this. And instead of having some cojones, I don't know what I'm allowed to say in Kuwait.
Instead of having some balls.
There we go.
Testicles, yeah.
Some nice footballs.
Let's not add to it. We said it.
We got it.
Now we move.
You're right, but the loser called me and said, I side with these people and we don't want this trouble, and how dare you for saying it was all for saying I supported the police. And while there are some very few bad police officers out there, the police that I've ever met came to my high school to tell me not to do drugs. They taught me how to play soccer. They were my t-ball coach. They went to my Boy Scout meetings. So to say that all police are just out there trying to kill everyone they can is a lie. And then I showed the facts that 96% of police never pull their gun in 30 years of duty. They'll start the force and retire, never pulling their gun. So why are they're all murderers? And that was too much. That was too controversial. I was supposed to say they're all murderers, and that would have been okay in Seattle, but not what I said.
You went to see. I see.
So you know about Seattle, even out there in Kuwait.
Even Kuwait, they know.
Let's talk about it. I want to talk about this. This is good. First of all, I am so much more happier to have you on the show since you got canceled, because I have some questions on how to get canceled without a real reason, right? But before we get to that, it's an interesting statistic you said.
Right.
30 years, not pulled a gun once. 90 was it? 1998?
Most police officers, 96% of all police officers never pull their gun in the line of duty, and
A+.
Yeah, and 98% never fire it. So it's down to like 2%. Now, the other fact that people don't like is that police kill more white people in America every year than black people.
Wait, really?
But yes, absolutely. The FBI keeps statistics on that, and I pointed that out and was called racist for saying that. I wasn't being racist. I was just showing the exact numbers that the FBI provides. Every year, I believe 500 white people are killed by police and 220 black. Now, if the number were every year 10,000 black people are killed by police and 2 white people, I would go, my goodness, I'm on your side. But these numbers don't seem to be that huge to me, considering how many rapists, killers, murderers, drug dealers, child smugglers are in our streets. I'm okay with 1,000 people if the professionals are doing their job right. And I'm glad many of them are white. I don't march for any of them. I don't know any of their names, and I don't care about any of them.
Fair. But I think what's starting up this whole stir is you see the 200 black people. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't live in the States. I have no clue or even care what's going on in like the US, but aren't the black people that are getting shot in the streets innocent compared to the white people? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just asking.
So if you think all 200 black people shot are just shot for being black, and then all 500 were guilty white people, you have to understand the cops are making a split-second decision, and there's probably some innocent white people in there too.
Fair.
And there's probably some innocent black people in there. And there's probably some guilty white people and guilty. So we can look at it and say, why are the police pulling and doing this? But to say, no, police just hate black people was my only point.
Right.
I'll say, here's our first controversial statement from me. Just pull all the guns. Honestly, the Second Amendment is first. Which one is it? Which one?
Oh my God. No, yeah, second one. Yeah,
honestly, let's think about this just for a second, right? Like for 1 second, let's think about it. If you pulled all the guns, right, from the citizens and the police, right?
And the police.
Only the special like weapons and tactics unit get their guns. And not even, they'll get a pistol. That's about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you pulled all that shit, don't you think maybe police brutality would not be a thing?
I think they would still say the guy hit me too hard with his stick.
There you go. Right.
And he hit me harder than the white guy.
That's good, bet. Yeah.
It'll never go away.
It'll never go away.
But if let me tell you, here's how open-minded I am. If there was a magic wand where I could make all the guns in the world disappear, I would wave it. I would be the hero of the world. All the guns would be gone. The problem that we're facing is if you take all the guns from the law-abiding citizens, like they did in London, shootings and stabbings are through the roof. People are taking over a whole school with a butcher knife. And, I see the argument, yeah, but they only killed 2 or 3, not 40 or 70. So, that's a whole new argument. Comedians shouldn't really get that far into the weeds on that type of thing.
True.
But I do touch on the topic that, hey, the cops aren't trying to just murder every black person they see. That's a lie that the media has sold us to try to make us hate each other.
Exactly. There you go. Just the media spinning things so we can hate each other, where there are actual real problems like the pedophiles and the rich people stealing money from the poor people and etc. And no one wants to, can't talk about it.
Well, and the other thing is people might say, oh, you're racist, but then they find out I'm half Persian and they're like, dang it. How can a Persian be racist?
Right.
And then they go, well, you're racist because you think like a white person, which sounds racist to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then
white guilt.
and then I say, but I agree with the same thoughts of Candace Owens, Thomas Sowell, Jesse Lee Peterson, and Dr. Ben Carson. They're all black. They go, well, they're white too.
Huh?
Well, not everybody. Could it be that maybe it's not black or white? Maybe there's people that just disagree. That was my only point, and that was too much for Seattle.
I mean, anything is too much for Seattle. I can George Carlin, who would have probably been too much for Seattle.
Right?
Oh goodness. Yes.
This guy literally went to court against the United States government based on what was that stand-up called? 7 words you can't say.
Right.
Something like
7
that.
words. SPFC SKC MF and T. I know the words. I can't say it because Kuwait's in the house.
Here, Ali, do you know how to bleep during editing?
Yes, I can bleep it.
Say it. Do it. Go ahead. I'll give it to you.
As George Carlin would say, shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits.
That's the words.
Amazing.
But you couldn't hear them because they're bleeped.
They're bleeped, really exactly, pretty much.
Comedians used to offend everybody and make fun of everybody. And by the end, everybody left the comedy club with a black eye and they were all buddies because everybody got picked on. And now they've kind of polarized. So they're like, well, I'll only make fun of this group or that. So I'm trying to bring that back where I made fun of Donald Trump yesterday. I make fun of Joe Biden a lot more because no one's doing it.
Right.
But I made fun of Donald Trump. He's not a president, so I'm allowed to talk about him, Ali. He is not a politician.
No, you can talk about Biden or Trump because freedom of speech, right? So go ahead, go crazy.
I just said that if he eats McDonald's every day, he plays golf for exercise once a month, he's overweight, and he can beat COVID, and I can't, then I deserve to die from it. So I don't want to wear my mask anymore.
Honestly, I used to be a little bitch when it came to masks, and I had to be the perfect role model because of what I studied, and now I'm just like, I lost interest. I honestly lost interest. Like, come on.
Right, it's been on for too long.
Telling me this is natural.
Right.
You're saying all this shit is no. I walk into coffee shops without a mask. I am one of those Karens. Yes,
that's cool.
I will say it. I will say it because it is what it is. I was acting like a Karen. They're like, oh,
I wear my mask just so I don't get Karened by other Karens.
Pretty much.
But wait, couldn't you get Karen by a Karen who's trying not to be a Karen? It's like
I think so. And I think, and then I'm wondering, why is she caring so much about what I'm doing? She should care.
I like that. That's a good one. I like. Here, hey, you get full rights to that joke. How about that? You can.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have you been able to perform any stand-up since COVID started, or how's that changed for you?
Zoom shows, Zoom shows, Zoom shows. People want to do stand-up on the computer now. It's very hard. When it first started, imagine this. People didn't know what to hold, so they were holding a spoon doing their jokes, which made no sense, but they just wanted to feel like it was stand-up. The reason you hold a mic is so the audience can hear you in the back. You don't need, it's not a prop. So that's one. When I first started doing Zoom shows, I would stand up and have like a fake brick wall behind me, but you've seen that technology. It's very crappy. Let me see if I can choose a virtual background. Look how bad this looks.
It just makes editing a whole lot more of a bit.
All right. You're moving too fast and it's not. Yeah, so I do that, you know. Hey, the other day, you know. Right. So I finally just did away with that. People want to laugh, but be real. So I went up to them and I was just like, hey guys, I'm be real with you. I'm sorry your company hired me to be your stand-up comedian, but you got to understand the budget is low. This is all they could afford. Okay. So bear with me. Yeah. I go, and my budget's low too. Thank goodness for this gig. My insurance is so low. The only doctor I can pick from my preferred physicians was a veterinarian. We need to do more shows. And people have been laughing. So I've been doing the Zoom shows, and then there's a few cowboys. What I mean by cowboys is people who are sick of masks, kind of like the kind of guy who will walk into a coffee shop with no mask and doesn't care. The alleys of the world. And
pretty much
those guys will call me and say, damn it, I'm so sick of being locked down. Will you come do a show on my farm? I said, really, your farm? I got a barn that seats 200 people. I built a stage for the rockabilly concert. We'll plug in the mic and you let her rip. And I go, wow, 200 people in a barn? I'm there.
Yeah.
I would have like flew there now. Like I would have went.
I went there for New Year's Eve, performed in a barn for December 31st. If you would have told me a year earlier I'd be performing in a barn on New Year's Eve. Near Alabama, I would have told you to go F yourself. And how dare you put that on me? But here I was, happy to be there, like, yeah, we're in a bar, we're doing live comedy. What's up?
This is a weird timeline we're living in right now. This is a
really strange universe. Yeah.
Like 2020 really was filled with so much bullshit. It could turn into a movie right there. Like
That's right. And every girl's wearing the sparkly dresses, and I was like, everyone was like hugging and high-fiving, and I made the joke. I had all these sparkles all over because we were dancing, and from the girl's sparkly dress I was dancing with, I had sparkles all over my pants. I go, my goodness, it looks like I humped a disco ball.
Pretty good.
Wow. And so that's just the kind of stuff that you think of and you go, maybe I'll add that to a joke next year.
To a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
that's good.
The whole setup is beautiful as well. It's like natural. You were in a barn, right? Like I was doing it. And it's like, it's true, which is epic and it's amazing. But here's my question. The truth is, how much of your content would you say is a little bit twisted to be funny or like added, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The twist is always where the funny is. My problem with most comedians, and I said this recently, they start with a lie. Their joke starts with a lie, and then they try to make it even funnier. That's not funny to me. If the joke starts from a place of truth, and then you start twisting it, it's funny. I'll give you an example. A lot of comedians be like, yo, that was messed up. Trump did that Muslim ban, banning all them Muslims from coming to America. That was messed up. Now where am I going to get my falafel? Okay, it's not funny to me because there was never a Muslim ban. There was a ban on 8 countries, but a Muslim from Kuwait could come and go. A Muslim from Canada could come in. A Muslim from South America was coming and going. London. So there was not. Now, if he would have said, yo, man, they banned them 8 countries. Those are the dudes that give me my falafel. I would have laughed. But, so that's the problem. Right. I start with the truth first. I'll start with the truthful joke, and then I'll move on.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And one thing I want to know, Kvon, is when do you know when the joke is ready? So like you rehearse the joke a lot, right? You have to perform it. You have to record a special. When is the material tight and ready to go?
I like when I can count on a joke 90% of the time, 95% of the time to get a laugh. There's a joke I was doing about skydiving, and I would only get a laugh 70% of the time. That means out of every 10 shows, 3 of them, people would just be staring at me after I did all this stuff on stage. And what's really bad is I was pretending I was skydiving, and I was hitting myself like against the wall, like, wah! And then you finish, and then they're like, I'm not going through all of that for that big of a laugh. That was horrible. It made me feel stupid. And then you look like, I'm bombing. So I stopped doing the joke. I still think it's funny, by the way. I love the joke, but the joke was I was going to go skydiving with this girl first time. She had gone 5 other times. So she had qualified to go by herself. And I was going to have to go with this guy named Chad. And they were going to buckle me to him. Now she's going by herself like a man, and I'm going like a little biatch. You know?
That's a sexist joke. That can get you canceled. I like that.
That can get you.
I know. And I'm screaming, and Chad is in my ear like, don't worry, I got you. You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Just relax. Okay. And he's behind me like, get off of me. So I lied and said I've been 5 times also. And so they pulled me up in the record and said, we don't see your name. I said, well, it was in Mexico. They don't keep accurate records over there, so that's why. And they said, fine, if you can do a good 5 minutes in the virtual skydiving, the indoor skydiving, then we'll know you're safe, and we'll give you the okay, and we can go up to the 30,000 feet or whatever. I said, perfect, yeah. And I had to Google how to skydive really quickly as we're walking to the room. And I get in there and I realize indoor skydiving is more dangerous than outdoor. You know why?
Why?
Outdoor, if you mess up, you have like a lot of room to fix it. Indoor, 3 feet, you hit the wall. Like a bug, right?
Right.
And I was getting beat up, and so I'm doing all this on stage, right? Slamming the walls, and then people 70% would be laughing and 30% just watching me slam into the walls, waiting for me to finish. It was like, I'm not doing that joke anymore. That joke is not ready for the big 1 hour special. Let's just
Good
put it that
decision
way.
you've come
I
to,
see.
I have to say.
Yeah. That's cool. All right.
But if you want to see that joke, I filmed it on a night that it went really well. And I'm posting it today right after your podcast.
Yeah, amazing.
This
That's really good.
Like a week from
I
now.
think-
Google Kvon skydiving story, and
Find the
you
link
guys.
to that story specifically in
Amazing.
the description.
Yes.
below.
Yes.
We, by the way,
That's right.
we have
We hit our time limit. Yeah.
we
pretty
went
much.
over our time, which is
Wow.
rare to see
Thanks, Kvon.
nowadays. Because,
Yes.
no,
Did I get canceled in Kuwait?
no, I'll make sure it doesn't happen. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Thank you. Have you ever brought a comedian to Kuwait?
No, but we do have stand-up comedians. You should check out our episode with Ahmed Shamiri, who's a comedian in Kuwait. And Kuwait, I think, is one of the first countries, Arabic countries, to open a stand-up comedy club. Right, but then it shut down for some reason.
It's pretty new.
If you want to know the reason? Check out the
Check it out.
episode. But
Pretty much.
otherwise, thank you so much for coming and watching today's episode.
Thanks,
If you enjoyed
Kvon.
this episode half as much as we enjoyed filming it, please do like, subscribe, check out Kvon on all his social medias. We'll leave a link to that in the description below. Kvon, thank you so much for coming.
Yes, if you guys want, if you find me, KVON Comedy, it's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I do all kinds of jokes. And if you get offended by one, just wait for the next one. What's your problem?
Exactly. You just got to wait.
much.
Patience is a virtue, I think, is the same. I don't know. But regardless,
Thanks
is
for
there anything
watching
else you'd
another
like to shout out or
episode.
let the world know?
Yeah. That's for you, Kvon.
Well, I do want to let you guys know, and I'm going to take 1 second here, and I'm going to show you this. Watch this.
Ooh.
If you want to laugh for over 1 hour, depending how fast you read, I have my book, Once You Go Persian, There's No Other Version, a survival guide from a half-Persian.
Amazing.
And this book has all kinds of funny jokes in it that I know you will love. And I don't care what part of the Middle East you're from, you will understand. many of the
pretty much
jokes
all
that are
the
in here.
same. Well, they say once you
Yes.
go Persian.
This was my first car right here. It is Mercedes.
It is Mercedes. It's Benz, no? It's good in Europe.
It's the good one.
Good in
It's
Europe.
Mercedes.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
there's
so
also a
look for me
saying
on there, and I'd love to meet you guys online. All the people that watch this, please hit me up and say you heard me on this podcast. That way I can be like, wow, these guys have a lot of viewers.
How about
A to the
that?
show.
Just
Check it
like
out.
that, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, once you go Kuwait, you start eating from a silver and gold plate. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the show.
A to the show.
This is us.
Subscribe.
Peace.
See you. Peace.